Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to that of World Series of Sim Racing, iRacingiFlag Cup Series racing action here tonight. Saturday night, we are glad to be here at Las Vegas on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and iRacingiFlag being the primary sponsor of the series. Big thanks to those there, as tonight the drivers are going to be racing here for the European Wax Center 225 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Thank you for joining us again here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As myself, Sam Dyer, Robert Moyer are going to be joining me in the booth here shortly, as well as running production here tonight. The drivers, last week was the time of first time we saw a rookie get a win here in a while. First time we've seen that of the WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series racing in 2022. And as well, got to see Zach Hall get his first pole award in his 4 seasons that he's ran in this series. Well, the first could continue again here tonight, as here at Las Vegas, it's the next-gen cars running at this 1.5-mile intermediate course where for 150 laps. It's going to be a long race. We also are going to find ourselves with stage break at that of lap 40, but we're going to be finding these drivers all kinds of help as well. Want to give a big thanks to our Rookie of the Year award, going to be that by ButtKicker. We'll touch on our sponsors a little bit more throughout this evening, but bringing us into the booth, be my co for this evening. He was my co last week. We got Robert Moyer with us. Robert, it's going to be an interesting race for these drivers. 1.5-mile racing at Las Vegas. Been hearing from the drivers, this could be, the setup's been adjusted to help be a little bit more stabilized, but this is still a very tricky course with this next-gen Cup car.
Oh, most definitely. It's going to be tricky there, Sam, like you said. And we're going to see how these guys can handle it because, they did a little modification to the setup, like you said, just to make it a little bit more stable. So we'll have to see how these guys handle it. It's going to be an interesting race. This track is really... It's easy to drive, but it also can be tough on you. So you really have to just pay attention to how you're going through the corners because, you get that feeling sometimes, Sam, that you can just hold it wide open and you just feel like you can do that lap after lap after lap. But eventually, the tires wear down and the car can start getting a little pushy. Now, I don't know what they adjusted on the setup-wise. I don't know if they got the push out of it a little bit or what they did to make it more stable there.
Yeah, they certainly helped with the offloading. Of getting off the throttle in the entry of the corner. That was really what was unsettling the car a lot for these drivers in the entry of the corner, especially in the entry of turns 3 and 4. They've really calmed that down on the entry of the corner. The exit, though, still going to be tricky, especially with cold tires and as the run progresses. That's where the driver's going to have the biggest handful for themselves. But you saw there the transition of the track. Practice is over. Qualifying starts. Drivers going to be seeing themselves with 2 laps to put down their fastest time to be qualified up front. And Robert, I would say here at Las Vegas, we've seen a couple of Las Vegas races in that of the old Cup machines as well as in the trucks these past couple of weeks. Gotta say, I would say track position is going to be very important for these drivers here in the starting point. So qualifying is going to be important to make sure they put down some good times. So don't be making any mistakes as drivers are hitting the track as we see the 81, Steven Stimpian hitting the course.
Yep, Steven Stimpian. Last week we're going to have some storylines to talk about here, Sam. And, we were at Auto Club, and a lot of people with that season opener thought, this is the way to go. We're going to be able to get a good, top 5, top 10 finish, or even possibly, win the race. Everybody was so excited. Well, we have some drivers that it didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, as Steven Stimpian, Tyler Conroy, some of them drivers there that just didn't have the night that they wanted. So they were looking forward to coming here at Las Vegas and getting ready to see what they can do, to help gain up on some points and everything. So we'll have to see how these all play out here. As we were, like you said, we're seeing Steven Stimpian come around for the first time here, ladies and gentlemen, out of turn 4 to see where he puts himself up on the board. And it looks like right now he's going to be on the pole. Well, he was on the pole.
He was for a quick moment until Conroy said, you know what, I'm going to take that from you. But, for Steven Stimpian, based off of practice, second fastest of those drivers. Conroy was the 3rd fastest, but those laps for practice were a little bit influenced by the draft. So These drivers, here we go. Second go around. Stympian looking quick, coming out of turn number 4. Conroy's going to be just behind him, so we'll watch on how the ticker's going to change as Tom Sinchek takes the top of the board for his second time. Stympian's going to be second. Conroy going to move up into second, pushing down. That is Steven Stympian. The board changes, and for now, it's Tom Sinchek besting them all at the moment, but there's still some very fast drivers to watch out for.
Oh, very fast drivers. As we've got a whole bunch of drivers finishing up their laps here, but Tom put down a blazingly lap here with the 29.85 right now. But like you said, we still got some drivers out here trying to put down a fast lap, as we got Zach Hall now out here going through turn 3 and 4. Last week's winner, that's a storyline too, not winner, but winner as on the pole wise. He got his first pole ever at WSSR, so we'll have to see what he can do. Can he go back to back? But right now, he's 19th on the board there, Sam. That's kind of a little surprising.
Yeah, but the big thing for Zach Hall is he's trying to be a little bit conservative on this first lap that he just completed. He's now on his second, where he's been a lot more aggressive on the tires, not trying to scrub off any more time than needed, as here comes Zach Hall running right down that white line. That's where you want to be if you want to put a fast time down. And coming out of turn number 4, across the line, Zach Hall looking to be better than the top 10. And as he crosses the line, ticker changes. 5th fastest on the board is the 24.
Not bad lap at all. Like you said, he took the first lap very easy there. Second lap, he puts himself into the top 5 in 5th position and basically ties with Steven Stympian with the 29.91. So we'll have to see how that all relates back into the race. Are we going to see Steven Stympian and Zach Hall, running side by side through the whole race, similar lap times? Or does one save tires and the other one burns them up? Well, only time will tell.
Yeah, time certainly will tell for these drivers, as we find ourselves with 1 minute and 10 seconds left here in qualifying. Here comes Michael Yarrow in the 98. This is his final lap coming across the line. How much better can he be? Was 21st on that first lap. Going to be a bump up to 11 after his second. And one of the drivers that kind of surprised me, did not have the best first, had a pretty decent first lap, was not able to complete his second. Chuck Sweeting going to be in 13th place and still has one more lap to work with, but most likely will not get back out on track. There is one driver sitting in pit road, but running out of time to hit the track is going to be James Hackworth Jr., but 30 seconds left. Robert, we're coming to the end of qualifying here. About 25 drivers were expecting to hit the course. Man, I know last week at Auto Club, it was a spectacular run. We got to see Zach Hall getting his first pole in his career for WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series action. But here tonight, going to see another one, that of Tom Sinchek, rookie, going to be taking the top of the board here tonight. So, seen a lot of first-comers, but can we see another first-comer get a win? That's going to be the question as qualifying is coming to a conclusion here.
The only way to find out, ladies and gentlemen, is stick around, watch the broadcast, and let's see if we can have a new winner, or do we get back-to-back winners? The question will be answered within 2.5 hours.
These drivers prepared, they're done with qualifying. And for qualifying, got to give a big thanks to also our race sponsor for this evening. Going to be that at the European Wax Center. Head over to the waxcenter.com to find your central location nearest you. As the drivers are getting lined up and ready to go, here's your official qualifying results. Tom Sinchek going to be taking the pole award with that of Vincent Sora, winner from last week at Auto Club, going to be to his outside. That of Tyler Conroy going to be in 3rd place, with that of Steven Stympian to his outside. Row number 3 in 5th position going to be Zach Hall, and that of Sean Powell going to be to his outside. With row 4 going to be Brian Johnson, with that of James Vining going to be in that 8th position. Tyler Dangler going to be in 9th, with that of 10th goes to Richard Jamison. Michael Yarrow takes 11th. And then in 12th, Carl Pooler, Chuck Sweeting, Cedric Hunter. In your top 15, going to be that of Alexander Light. Finishing out the last couple of rows for these drivers, going to be that of seeing Christopher Norris in 16th, Brad Delph, John Peel, Gregory Shaw, Nick Crawford, James Kaufman, as well as Kyle Rochelle, Bob Skinner, as well as James Loveland and James Hackworth Jr. Going to be your 25 drivers ready for racing action here tonight at that of Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 150 laps. We will have a stage break at lap 40 where our top 10 will get those bonus points. But until then, we get to see how this restart's going to go. And this restart here, Robert, is going to be treacherous. But as we're waiting on that of Vincent Sora to log in, you see that 15 finally pop up on the grid. But cold tires, even race control is giving the word to these drivers currently. Be aware, cold tires at the start of this run is going to be concerned. Let's not overdo it, get too aggressive. And that's going to be a factor for almost every restart that we get into of going to be closed in pack racing. Any mistake up front or even further back could bring out a big one. So you want to keep your head on a swivel and not be caught up in any type of messes.
Well, that's the key right there, Sam. What you said, cold tires. Even the admins and the drivers should know this. Cold tires with these cars with the Gen 7, they need to warm them up. And not only that, like you said, it's going to be treacherous when we start. We're going to have this pack racing. It's going to be like super speedway racing for the first couple laps. Cars are going to be on each other. Cars are going to be all over each other. And some cars are going to be loose, some cars are going to be tight. So it's just a matter of just take it easy, let the tires warm up, let the race play itself out, and then battle your components when it's when it's time. And you'll know that as a driver when, okay, my tires are warm, I feel comfortable, no one's around me, and then we can go full board as many laps as you want. But we're getting ready to go green here for the round number 2 with WSSR as we head down into turn 3 here, Sam.
There's no playoffs. It's only racing action. 8 races to figure out who's going to get the championship for season number 4. And like you said, this is round number 2. Tom Simchek, Vincent Sora, ready to go to the green as we are here for the WSSR iRacing iFlag Cup Series. Go get yourself an iRacing iFlag. They provide sim racers with the best iFlag virtual flag systems. They can give you clear directions on where drivers are and also where flags on tracks are displayed. They can help you out, and as well, we'll talk more about them as the pace car is off. It's time to see who's going to gamble, who's going to get the bank, who's going to win at Las Vegas for that of the European Wax Center 225. We're green, as it's going to be that of Vincent Sora as well as Tom Simchek doing a little bit of flip-flopping. The 8 to the outside, 15 down low, and here we go down into turn number 1. It's Vincent Sora, winner from last week, taking us to down through that of turn number 2. He'll try to lead here on lap number 1, but Robert, this is when things get chaotic. Turns 3 and 4 has been the trouble spot. I've been watching it all through practice, and here we go.
Here we go, turn 3 and 4. We'll see how these guys navigate through here as they're looking really good, very clean as the sun shines down on the cars. And it looks like they did a very well job. They knew what needed to do there, Sam. And now they are going down the front stretch to go into turn number 1 for the very first time. As we got Powell right there in that 45 looking on the high side of Steven Stepien. He's going to try to get the run on the high side, coming down the backstretch to go into turn number 3.
John Powell in that 45 has been looking very good. Actually, kind of the biggest surprise driver after watching last week's race. And that 45 machine certainly is going to be a threat here tonight. But Vincent Sora on the go and already with that of a 3/10 lead over that of second place. As we're watching this group right now, we're seeing that of the 3 machine, of that of Conroy, Steven Stepien, in that yellow and red 81, and as well in that of the teal, blue, and gray. It's going to be silver. That's going to be Tom Simchek in that late Apex machine. And you're starting to see a couple of drivers recognizing, hey, let's make some bold moves, go for some passes. But right now, it is settled down, let the tires warm up, and see how much further we can push up front. Is a little bit of issues for our leaders to watch out for. For Vincent Sora, he's got to be careful. There's a driver that is on his back bumper as well as that of Conroy. Got a blinking car that could be causing issues if they're not careful.
Yeah, I was just ready to say, Sean Powell there was blinking in and out there a little bit. Hopefully that gets cleared up. So they'll have to pay attention to just another ticker there. But like you said, Tom Simchek was all over Steven Stepien there in that 81, pushing him through 1 and 2. And right now, it looks like the high line right now, Sam, is looking very strong right now. Now, I don't know if that low line's going to come in or if we're just going to have drivers migrate all the way up. But right now, we still got side-by-side racing with Tom Simchek and Steven Stepien there in that 81. But right now, it looks like Tom is going to just hold that position there right now there in 4th position.
He's going to hold it for now, and as we move up to our leaders, that of Vincent Sora and Tyler Conroy, they're going to be on top of one another. Now, Vincent Sora did pull away in those first 2 laps with a decent gap for himself. Now it's gone. It's down to a 1/10, and for Sora, Conroy, they can be patient here, especially for Tyler Conroy. He could just sit behind, pressure sort of, use up those tires a little bit more. So when getting those long runs, about when we're 10, 15 laps into this run, that's when the 3 can really pounce and try to take this lead position.
Well, I know one thing here, Sam, that you don't know too much about Tyler Conroy. I raced with him multiple years ago. Did he just give Vincent Sora a little bump there to get underneath him?
Just a little bit of a tap just to unsettle him. But, I mean, it's also one of those things where he got the better run, so he was able to dive down low and make that pressured move. Was Conroy over Sora, but you talked about that outside lane. It looks strong. Well, you're Sora, able to defend for now, but when you're on that outer lane, you get into the throttle so much faster than the driver on the inside. You're actually using up a lot more of your tire, getting back to the throttle so soon. So yes, Sora's defending. He's doing a great job at it, but at the detriment of his tires as he's making this move.
Yeah, he has to make sure, like you just said, he's got to get clear. He's got to get clear of Tyler Conroy there. But right now, I was going to go back and say, Tyler Conroy last week did not have, he made, 2 laps at Auto Club and was wrecked out, unfortunately. So this is basically his first race here with these guys back in season number 4. And he's a very fast driver, but very aggressive driver. Woo.
Yeah, that aggression, certainly, if you're going to be pushing the buttons of Vincent Sora, of anyone, he will be able to, he will retaliate at some point. It might be later on in the season. It could be immediate. But certainly, if you're going to get this touchy on these drivers, got to be careful, as we do have our first official DNF of the night with connection issues. That's going to be James Loveland in the 0-2, not able to finish out or even start tonight's race. Hate to see it. As we take a look back further at the field, here's Zach Hall, got the pole position last week, came up second place for himself. Other drivers in the middle of the field, this is the battle for that of 11th position. Going to be that of Michael Yarrow as well as that of Tyler Dangler. But we got to move back up to the lead here, Robert, as the battle for the lead is still on, and that of Sean Powell. He's making the move on the back bumper of the 3, trying to make it a 3-horse race for our leaders.
As we go up here to watch that number 45, a 3-horse race, like you said there, he's still blinking out a little bit. That's for Tom Simchek. He sees that kind of stuff. That's scary. You see Tom, he's going down to the apron there, Sam. He's like, I don't know about this. Hopefully this gets cleared up. But you know what I was going to talk about? We watched Gregory Shaw here. We had, I had some information throughout the week, and I'm sure you did too, Sam, that a lot of these drivers here, you're going to see pack racing, but separated where you're not on each other constantly. And we can see this right now, ladies and gentlemen. You got some cars all out by themselves. You got 2-3 cars battling each other. So this is what we're going to see all night, and this is what the recently update that we got from iRacing. So they changed something with the drafting package just a little bit, but we'll have to see how that all plays out as we go up here and watch Brian Johnson. He's still trying to work his way up through the field too.
Yeah, Brian Johnson, most winningest driver of this series. He's got 13, trying to look for number 14 of his career for that of the WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series, as diving down low, trying to get by that of James Vining, newcomer and rookie. And James Vining, who did not show up for last week, certainly is looking for an opportunity to show off here for his first debut race of the WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series. And as we talk about that, you also see in their left corner panel a little bit of drivers getting close to one another. Our leader is Conroy. He is not giving up, trying to get this lead position.
No, and how much is that brutal in his tires? How much is that killing his tires there, Sam, is going to be the question. Because, at the beginning here, we had Vincent Sora. He just checked out, and now we got like a 6-car pack. Everybody's just starting to, like a slinky, coming right back to each other.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is Tom Simchek. That he's going to have the best tires looking in this group, as get a little bit of a push and helping Vincent Sora is going to be Powell giving an advantage to the 15 as Conroy continues. Bobbles, watch out, holds on. Luckily, didn't get too much of contact at the 45, and now Conroy's going to be losing more positions. And you talk about tires for the 3, well, you saw it right there. Just a little bit too much. Back onto the throttle, drifted up, and got loose and decided, I'm going to get out of the way instead of ruining someone else's race.
Yeah, it looks like that Oreo's number 3 machine is tight coming out of turn 4 here, Sam. I've been seeing it for multiple laps, so we'll have to see how that all plays out and see if he can figure it out or try to get to the high side. But right now, from the start of the race, 15 laps into it, that number 3 is bent on the bottom and prefers the bottom, it looks like. It doesn't look like he wants to go to the top side at all. which is
Yeah, not
shocking.
trying to, yeah, just yet. But I do want to give an update for drivers further back. An issue for Alexander Light in the 97 as we watch this group did get loose and have trouble. Got actually bounced into the outside wall out of turn 2 and had some big troubles. Also, Brad Delph, hard contact for that 14. 97, main issues was after hitting the 14 and the outside wall on why he is slow, and now back to 23rd position. Brad Delph, he might have to come to pit road with a hard contact, not required damage, but certainly is going to be underpowered from here on out.
Hey, you can see the damage on Alex Light there's right side rear end, and now you can see it right here on Brad Delph's on the right side. When that spoiler is crinkled up just a little bit. Don't look too bad. These cars are very, very adorable, can take some beating. So I think he should be able to get that fixed. But now that I see, too, he's got it on the left front, too, there, Sam. His splitter and left front is a little crinkled.
Yeah, that's exactly where the 97 actually came up and ran and got in front of the 14. And also for the 14 of Delph, he's got to be concerned because he actually went airborne just slightly and slammed back down. That's going to be suspension issues on top of that front end spots that he's dealing with as we move back up front, as it is getting chaotic. 2x2, 2 rows deep for battling for second and as well for 4th place is going on. But still, Vincent Sora leading the way as we're riding on board with Zach Hall and getting a sense of how he's going to try to treacher and fight his way through. Currently in 6th place, we're starting to see this group. They're closing in, and this is all of the drivers from 9th to our leader that are all right here.
I was ready to say, I was looking at the scoring pylon there, and from 9th going all the way up, they're slowly creeping in on top of each other. And we're riding with Zach Hall, and you can definitely see what he's seeing out his windshield, ladies and gentlemen, of what these guys are doing up front. Now he's got to make a decision. Does he just stay back here and ride and wait for that stage? As we got Alex Light, looks like he was involved something, and he is in pit road, Sam.
Yeah, Alex Light again involved in that issue and wrecked once more for the 2nd time, hitting the outside wall and then runs into the inside wall. And because there was no oncoming traffic, there was no yellow that was going to be thrown for Alex Light. He takes a tow, and going to be our 2nd DNF of the night is that 97 from Limitless, as we keep our eyes on Gregory Shaw, another driver from Limitless, going to be running in 11th. And as well, then a Chuck Sweeting, a driver that really had to fight his way last week at that of Auto Club, was caught up in some early damage and issues, finished out up front with a decent finish for himself. Going to be trying to do a similar thing here tonight, but he's running back in 12th. Still a lot of work for that of Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, but don't put him out. We seen what he did at Auto Club, right? I mean, his car was beatered, banged, broken, things flying off of it, and he kept going in and, getting it fixed, and then a little bit more fixed, Sam, and he finished the race, so you got to give him credit on that. He did not give up. He struggled, like you said, so he's looking for a better finish here tonight here at Las Vegas, and we'll see how he plays out here with that Gator Racing Machine number 75, as he's got Michael Yarrow up there in that 98 right in front of him, and he's getting the sniff of the draft. He's following Gregory Shaw on the high side, as Gregory Shaw is trying to make a move on Michael Yarrow right now. They're side by side. So what's Chuck Sweeney do? Does he sit back and just say, okay, guys, race? But, you can't sit back too much, because now we got that Hello Kitty of Cedric Hunter running back here in 13th position here, Sam.
Yeah, I would most likely want to follow in that of the tracks of Michael Yarrow. Yarrow has been the driver that's moving forward. Yes, Gregory Shaw is our biggest mover of the night for that 66, but he's been over-aggressive. Did the same thing at Auto Club last week. He got overzealous, gained a ton of positions, but it just didn't work out on the long run. Just overcooked those tires and fell back. And right now, the 66, he's hitting that plateau marker where he's going to start losing ground. He's going to fall off while everyone else is starting to hit their equal equilibrium for themselves. But here comes that of Chuck Sweeting here for that of 12th position. He might go 2 for 1 here in this corner as he just waits, follows in the tracks of 98. But like you said, that of Cedric Hunter, driver who had 3rd most laps led last week at Auto Club, back here in 13th. A little bit of a shocker in my eyes. Didn't qualify well, qualified back in 14th position, only up 1 position for himself. But certainly a lot of work for Cedric if he wants to move himself into this lead pack. But as Yarrow and as that of Gregory Shaw stay side by side, they're going to be losing time on this lead group. And that's going to be 9th up to our leaders that are trying to pull away.
At ninth, trying to pull away there, Sam, and we'll have to see how this all plays out, ladies and gentlemen. And as we, like you said, Gregory Shaw is probably burned up his tires. Unfortunately, he's going to have to try to, just salvage what he's got right now until he gets to the stage break. And because he's got a flock of vehicles all over him now. He's got Chuck all over him. You got Cedric Hunter. He's got some people right there behind him yet. I'm not sure exactly who's all running behind him.
That's going to be Tyler Dangler, Nick Crawford, also the 5 of Kyle Rochelle. If the longer they stay side by side, that 5 also is going to be in the collection here in the white late Apex machine, as starting to see drivers finally start to single out where they want to be. But for Michael Yarrow, big positive for the 98, and the fact that he's been able to get clear of Gregory Shaw, as he's in that 10th place position. We've been green, and this has been impressive to watch, mainly because, Robert, we're closing into that of our stage break that's at lap 40 for these drivers. Right now, it's going to be Vincent Sora, Tom Senchak up front battling for the lead position, but those are the drivers who are going to try to maximize. The top 10 all get those bonus points, and Michael Yarrow is that bubble driver that's in 10th place, trying to get that 1 bonus point.
Well, that's it. We talk about it. We're getting close to the stage break here, and he's fighting for that 1 point, even if it's 10th position. Now, if you missed last week's race, these guys here do not have, you win it, you're in it playoff system. This is all done by points, and every bonus point you can get, Sam, means a lot. I mean, it's huge when you're racing for points and not have to worry about getting the win to get into the playoffs. So it's a different, thinking-wise when you're out there racing, when okay, I'm running 11th position, that 1 point could mean a lot for me to move up through the standings just to try to stay, in pack. But right now, we're looking like Nick Crawford looked like there a couple seconds, and he wanted to go 3 wide with Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, for these drivers, they are getting feisty, as here comes Nick Crawford, who's been patient, letting the car come to himself. Same could be said for the 19 of Dangler, back behind Chuck Sweeting. Here comes Rochelle, and with all the slicing and dicing here, especially here late in this run, 30 laps in, these tires starting to feel the pain of being out here this long. Our leaders running almost a full second slower than their fastest time they've ran all day, showing that wear and tear. And for these drivers, they got to be careful not to just throw into one another. But here we go. Let's go 3 wide for that of 4th place for a quick moment. Brian Johnson, Zach Hall able to make that move over Tyler Conroy. Conroy not giving up, even though he's had plenty of moments of scares where he thought he was going to end his night. You talked about the aggression from the 3. Once he gets fresh tires, Conroy's going to be the driver to watch out for if he's further back in this field.
Oh, I agree. He's very aggressive. Conroy's a very aggressive driver. So hopefully he, we'll have to see how he plays it out, Sam. I mean, I just know from firsthand experience of what kind of driver that guy can be. He's very fast. He can be very clean, but he's just very aggressive, and he just doesn't take it away. He just I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But my question to you, Sam, here real quick, as we're on lap 32 of 150 here, how many drivers in the back here do you think said, you know what, I'm going to take it easy right now. I want to make it to the stage break, and then I'll bring out my A game, and I'll start doing what I need to do, as we're watching Zach Hall and Brian Johnson run side by side here?
I would have to say Cedric Hunter and Nick Crawford, both those drivers are looking very strong just based on the lap times they're putting down right now compared to what the drivers in the top 5 are putting down for a lap. So both Cedric Hunter and Nick Crawford going to be drivers to watch out for. Nick Crawford, probably the biggest of them all, just because he is the biggest mover of the night, back in 12th place for the 11. But these drivers are up in the top 5. Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, they're also going to be threats to watch out for. They both have been able to move up 1 position for Zach Hall, 2 for Brian Johnson. So they've had to make a couple of adjustments to move up. But as these laps tick away, I think also they're recognizing, okay, who's being aggressive, over-aggressive on their tires, and what knowledge can we take from this first stage? Because everyone's going to be coming into pit road. They're all going to take tires. You got 4 extra sets in pit road. No one's come in just yet and gotten back out on track. So we'll see at the end of this stage who's going to feel the most comfortable on their tires, and that might also give the sign on who's going to get even more aggressive once we get done with our stage break.
Oh, that's going to be the question. We'll have to see here within about 6 laps here, ladies and gentlemen, or actually 5 laps. They will hit their stage break, and right now Tom Simchek up there in that number 8 has pulled away from Steven Stempien by 4/10. And Vincent Sora, that looked very, very strong, is almost a second behind now, Sam. He's slowly falling off. So, a lot of these drivers are going to figure this all out, after the stage break. They'll go in, look at their tire assessments, they'll get their feedback on it, and figure out what they need to do to, either save more tire or, hey, I got a little tire that I can give, and I'll run it just a little bit harder for 5, 6, 7, 8 laps, whatever it might be. But we're watching Brian Johnson right now. He goes in low. The car's sliding up high, so I'm not sure if that's something he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to grab a different line, but it's interesting what he's doing in 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, and the big thing for Brian Johnson, I think what he's doing is he's just trying to run a different line, trying to get clean air. When you're following the driver in front of you, that is what we call aero push, of where the car just does not want to turn. And that's why we're seeing Johnson move up a groove or two, just trying to give that nose a little bit of clean air so it's going to turn a little bit better for himself. Otherwise, you could see this car doing what we call plowing, where the car just will go straight instead of turning into the corner, which we call that a tightness feeling. The car wants to turn. That's what you're looking for. So that's why we're seeing Johnson really trying to search, find where the car's going to turn its best. But right now, you can see he's losing ground as Zach Hall, but in a solid 5th place position as his laps continue to tick away. We're now 3 laps away from the stage being done.
Oh, good point of what you said about plowing and everything with the car, which is true, very true, ladies and gentlemen. But I always call it bipolar. Car never does what I want it to do, so it's a bipolar car.
It only just did what I wanted. As these drivers are inching closer and closer to the end of the stage, misfortunes, it looks like, for drivers. Internet issues always are going to be something that strikes. It's almost like seeing a car randomly just break down and a part just break in real life. And for James Vining, it looks like internet has struck the 33. His debut race, he was running back in 9th position and actually was running very quick of those drivers, just letting the, just letting the car come to him, saving those tires for the long run. But internet strikes the 33, going to be 1 lap down and it's not reconnected back.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, anything he can take away from there is get ready and prepare if he does not come back for next week. But unfortunately, like you said, we have three drivers right now that with the DNF with James Loveland that did not start the racing at number 56. We got Alex Light, unfortunately, his little incident that he had, and then we got James Vining that just had, malfunction on his equipment, unfortunately. So, but right now we're watching Tom Simchek in that number 8. Right now he's looking good as he's going to get hit lap number 40. Looks like he's going to be the stage winner here, Sam. We should be getting the yellow here very shortly when they complete this lap.
Yeah, lap is completed. Yellow flag has not been thrown, but we're expecting it to be thrown, and there it is. I think race control realizing, oh, wait, shoot, we're on lap 40. We have been green this whole entire time, and yellow flag finally flies. Your top 10 drivers going to be Tom Simchek, that is Steven Stympian, Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, Sean Powell, as well as that of Tyler Conroy, Rich Jamison, that of Cedric Hunter, and Michael Yarrow. Jamison, also a driver I was about to point out, solid run for this 86. Can't wait to see more of what he does. But before we go to our commercial break, do want to give big thanks to our sponsors, that at iRacingiFlag. iRacingiFlag, again, talked about it. They've got their iFlag virtual flag system. Well, they also have other systems that can help you out, such as your digital pit boards. On that. The digital pit boards, which provide sim racers with information such as that of track temperature, weather conditions, laps of fuel remaining, and also 5 laps of usage average. They've got plenty of other information if your sim rig is in need of anything small but useful upgrade. iRacingiFlag could be on your radar. Thank you so much to iRacingiFlag. And if you want to go get yourself an iFlag system from iRacingiFlag, go use our promo code FreakyFast2022 for a discount. As well, want to give a big thanks to that of the European Wax Center and our Rookie of the Year, ButtKicker. We'll touch more on ButtKicker and other sponsors when we come back as the drivers are hitting pit road. Robert, certainly is looking good for Tom Simchek, especially in the way that he was strong there at the end of the stage.
He looks strong as everybody comes down pit road here. So we will be right back and see what happens on the second half as we will stay green, hopefully to the lap 150 to see who we have a win. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Drivers, start your engines! 4, 3, 2, 1, green. No rear grip whatsoever, up sideways everywhere. Come on, man, do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series racing action. This is race number 2 of an 8-race season. No playoffs. It's all about collecting those points, and Vincent Sora is in the right position. But our Stage 1 winner, that is Tom Sinchek, he's going to be all the way back mired in last place. We believe that it's just a glitch that put him back there, but he has an EOL. He's at the end of the line, and we're green here for the European Wax Center 225. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Robert Moyer. And just like that, we're back to green flag racing. Our only yellow of the day was from the stage break. We'll see if we can continue to stay green as the yellow and red machine of Steven Stympian leading the charge on the backstretch.
Wow, and as we're watching Steven Stympian lead the charge on the backstretch, Zach Hall coming through 1 and 2 there, Sam. He got wiggly, he got loose, and he saved it, but that car did not look very happy for him, as right now he's got Brian Johnson looking on his left corner panel, trying to work underneath him, and Cedric Hunter might go on the high side. Nope, they do not. They go side by side down into turn 1 and 2.
They're going to be racing as hard as they can right now. And smoke's going to be coming by. And that's going to be Richard Jamison. And Jamison spinning. Pooler's going to get out of the way. Watch out further back as, no hard contact for the 14. And other drivers sneaking their way through. But Brad Delph, hard contact, and he is looking to be done for that 14.
Wow, we had Richardson, Bob Skinner, Brad Delph, all involved into this one. We'll go back here on the replay, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly what happened. All we seen was smoke, so we'll have to see here on the Freaky Fast Instant Replay as we watch him go down into turn 1, and we'll see what happens here as he's got Tyler Conroy right behind him. And I do believe, that thing just snapped out on him, unfortunately. He's saving it, and, Tyler just got out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we're talking about cold tires at the start of the race. Well, same thing here. All the drivers came in. There's Delph, who just did not have anywhere to go as he runs into that of Jamison, and both the drivers going to be finding themselves extremely damaged. Bob Skinner, Jamison, and Brad Delph all getting what we call a meatball flag. It's a black flag with an orange circle, with meaning you have required damage. You have to come into pit road.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brad Delph hit him head on. Man, that was a hard impact for Brad Delph. Hopefully he's okay when he goes into the infield care center. But man, he had nowhere to go, and he just ran him over. I mean, it was a hard hit. 180 miles per hour, 170 right into a car does not feel so good. Thank God we're in a sim rig sitting at home, because I'm sure he felt it in his force feedback there, Sam.
Held in his force feedback, and if he had a butt kicker, would have been feeling it from that as well.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to get a butt kicker and feel the sensations as well, you can go get yourself a game or two from ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing with the promo code FreakyFast20. Get yourself 20% off at your purchase. As getting a butt kicker certainly elevates how you're racing. And if you've already purchased an iRacing iFlag, you just got your butt kicker, well, you might be missing a sim rig if you haven't got one already. Well, the best place to go is that of Advanced Sim Racing. Advanced Sim Racing is your one-stop shop if you want to get yourself a racing chassis, as well as monitor stands, wheel, monitors. They've got it all at Advanced Sim Racing, and using the promo code FreakyFast5, get yourself 5% off. And Robert, I would say all of our sponsors, I think you're geared up and ready to go hit iRacing and get yourself racing action. And why not join one of the leagues that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting?
That's right. Just go to iRacing.com. You can sign up there. They do got promo codes for, your first 3 months or your first month. Give it a try. See if you like it. Start working your iRating up, and you never know where your career can go in iRacing. It's just not a sim. You can make a career out of this, and a lot of people do. So, it's an awesome platform that we have. So just a big shout out again to iRacing. Just go to iRacing.com. Thank you very much, and we do much appreciate it here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we are going down here in turn number 1 and 2. Getting ready to go back green here very shortly, and I want to give another shout out to everybody out there watching on YouTube. We do much appreciate the support here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, coming out, watching our content, rooting on some drivers. We do much appreciate it at the crew here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As for, Sam Dyer and I have a blast doing this every Saturday night for you, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, we love the fact that everyone's been so interactive in the chat, and hey, let's get more interactive. Well, we know that the stage is done. We just saw a couple of contenders out of this thing. Who are you rooting for? Who do you think is going to be able to win here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, for that of the European Wax Center 225? Who do you got? Steven Stimpian currently the leader with that of Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, Cedric Hunter going to be your top 5. But all the way back, we've got a couple of fast drivers back there as well. We got Sean Powell, as well as that of Tom Sinchek, going to be 15th and 16th position. They've got a lot of work if they want to get up front. And also, kind of surprising, they had some damage repair they had to get done for Nick Crawford, and also for that of seeing that of Chuck Sweeting, also having some damage repair at our stage break. So a lot of different storylines of drivers that we know are fast. They're going to want to move forward. But a driver that wants to move forward, and we kind of noted on, Tyler Conroy, going to be back in 7th place here on this restart, Robert. That is going to be the driver that's in my mind to watch out for if this 3 gets a little bit too giddy for himself.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I mean, there's storylines with lap 51 of 150 right now. I do believe the storylines is to watch what that number 3 does, see if he doesn't burn off his tires, see what he can do, move up, maybe take the lead as he battles these guys up in the front. But I'm watching right now, and this point of the race here is back there, like you said, Sean Powell and Tom Simchek. They were up front at that stage break. Tom did win, that stage break and winded up with a glitch going back, we do believe, in the back of the field. So, we got to watch these two guys here, that number 45 and 8 running in 16th and 15th position, and see if they can finally work their way up through the field. Or does it take too long with these cars, with the draft? And you know what I mean? We'll have to see what this all plays out, because these guys are going to have to make one more pit stop yet, too. So, if they can't gain any other positions there, Sam, do they use a pit stop to try to, gain what they lost back there on the stage as we get ready to go green? And we got Steven Stempien taking us green flag racing down in the turn 1, side-by-side, Zach Hall, Vincent Soares, Cedric Hunter, Brian Johnson, all side-by-side as they head into turn number 1 there, Sam.
It's almost like our top 5 all recognized it was time to go at once. Everyone from 6th on back with Conroy and others kind of felt snoozing. They were not able to get going immediately, and here comes the battling. It's going to be that of Vincent Sora. Was very aggressive on the start of this race in those first 15 laps, then lost the lead position. Stempien gets loose, and that's the opportunity for the 15. He'll take the lead right back like that. The 81 almost seeing his hopes and dreams snuffed out. And talking about snuffed out, Tom Simchek, he's hit through the grass. Issues for the 8, as well as Christopher Norris, Carl Pooler. Issues for a lot of drivers on the front stretch, but with no oncoming traffic, we stay green as those 3 drivers continue to try to get themselves rolling.
Oh, man, we see Carl was involved into something, but you can definitely see on Tom Simchek's rear end there, Sam, he got belted right in the rear end from somebody. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but it hit him and pushed him right through the grass.
Yeah, and that was going to be Gregory Shaw. Tom Simchek got loose out of the corner, got absolutely hammered in the back. Carl Pooler also got loose, and for Pooler, he found himself in the grass, major issues, and actually found himself getting extremely loose and spinning out in wrecking out the 71. He's still out on track, but major issues for those drivers. Same goes for Christopher Norris, who actually got an unsafe pit entry as he got loose and wrecked out of 4, just showing cold tires. Not fun for the drivers further back or even up front. As you see the 66, that front end dinged in, he's got no front clip anymore.
Oh, you don't need it. He's good to go. It just cools down the engine a little bit more. Maybe not. They got that metal piece going across the engine there to hold the radiator in. Just take that off too, right, Sam? I mean, then you'll really go fast.
I mean, you certainly are going to be going somewhere. I don't know if you're going to be going fast. Might see the car just fall apart in pieces after piece.
Right.
So I hope that we don't see that. But these drivers all trying to get reset as we see the 5-year power shell. Tyler Dengler also great run for the 19 now, with everyone having their struggles. The 19 now cracking inside of the top 10. Great spot for Dengler, who's hoping to continue on his great run for himself. But I got to say, this has been kind of a shocking showing here after the stage break. We had 40 laps of just green flag racing, no yellows coming out. Now we're seeing these drivers getting a little scrappy, which usually it's the opposite. You're scrappy in the first stage, then you clean it up for the rest of the race.
Well, to bring that up here, you got a good point here. And what's funny about it here, ladies and gentlemen, in the past month and a half, we've been to Las Vegas, and we see some action here at Las Vegas, haven't we, Sam? So hopefully that doesn't roll over to here tonight. I don't think it will, but you never know. Get toward the end of the race, some scrappiness might happen, because we've seen some stuff happen here at Las Vegas, and we prefer to keep it at Las Vegas.
What happens in Vegas hopefully stays in Vegas. So
Right.
we hope that phrase continues to just linger where it's at. But man, this track certainly has brought a lot of drama-filled finishes to the end of these races, and we're hoping that we get clean, great, amazing action. We don't want to see dirty racing like we've seen previously before. And right now, we're seeing our leaders, they're all staying in line, keeping it clean for themselves, but they got to be careful. Flat traffic will also be a factor here shortly, as it's going to be that James going to be seeing ourselves with Carl Pooler, who was involved with the most recent incident that did not bring out a yellow as well. He's going to be the next driver that you see on the backstretch, bobbing and weaving, trying to figure out where he wants to be on track to get out of the way.
That's the question. Brian Johnson, we missed him. He now takes over the lead over Vincent Sora, Tyler Conroy. They're in third position. The guy that we have our eye on here tonight, Zach Hall, got loose again coming out of 4 there, so it looks like he's struggling with a loose car right now there, Sam. But we're watching right now as Tyler Conroy's going to look up underneath Vincent Sora to try to take him out of turn number 1 and 2 here. And I don't think he's going to be able to get the run. I think that high line is just going to be very powerful as Tyler Conroy is going to fall right back in line here.
You can get a sense for Conroy, though. It's either this move that he's trying to set up and he's been trying to do all race long. Either it's going to stick at some point. He's going to be able to make an incredible pass on the inside and just drive away, or he's going to find himself not having that grip that's not going to stick, and he's going to drift up into that driver to the outside. As now Deacon and move, and a nice block from the 15 of Vincent Sora, not allowing Conroy to get underneath them. But for Sora, this now gives a setup. Here comes the 3 on the backstretch, trying to pick and choose where he wants to go. Will we see the 3 decide to just follow suit? He will do so, but he's running about a half a groove higher than the 15, just trying to maximize his speed any little bit possible on these straightaways.
He's looking very strong coming out of turn 3 there, turn 4. You can see he closed the gap just a little bit, but right now it's looking like, as we watch, ladies and gentlemen, it's starting to look like right now that he's looking pretty good. It looks like Vincent Sora and them are pretty equal going through 1 and 2, but it's coming through here 3 and 4. You can see him ride it up a little bit, different line, and right here's where he's going to start pulling, and he pulls right back onto his bumper.
And you might be wondering, how is he able to close in that gap? Well, the big thing for this 3 is when he's running that higher lane, he doesn't have to let that car drift to the high side, which when you're letting the car drift, you actually are scrubbing time because you're just moving horizontally across the track. So you got to make sure that you're keeping the car not scrubbing off speed, which that's what the 15 is doing at the same time compared to the 3. But this pack that we see on screen, this is going to be Chuck Sweeting, Zach Hall, battle for 5th place on back. Got some contenders we were talking about not to give up too much on as we ride on board with Steven Stimpian as well. Get a sense of how Stimp's going to be rocking with that steering wheel with this driver cam on your bottom right. And you can see constantly working that wheel through the center of the corner, and especially out of turn 4. Watch out here for the 81, how he's got to work this wheel on the exit because of this dirty air.
Yeah, you can see him working the wheel. He's very focused. He's talking to his team. He's doing what he needs to do. Falling behind Zach Hall. We know he's got a fast car there, Sam. We know that he can possibly do something, but when is his go time? When do these guys, just ride?
Oh, no, behind them! Oh. Contact's going to be made! It's still going to be that of Cedric Hunter. Contact between himself and Kyle Rochelle, bringing out the yellow.
Oh, no. All right, well, we'll see what happens here. We're waiting for our software to trigger. Still not triggered yet here. We do got a yellow flag out on the field, so we'll have to wait and see once we get triggered here on our software. Hopefully it triggers us. We can go back and see. I don't know if you have a little bit more detail on exactly what happened there, Sam, with Cedric Hunter.
Cedric Hunter was following Steven Stimpian, came down and tried to get down to the white line, but Kyle Rochelle's bumper was already there, and right when Cedric came down on the entry of turn 1, 13 got bumped, spun the 13 around. Luckily, you can see there that damage on the side panel. That's from where the hood of basically being pit maneuvered around onto the front bumper of the 5. That's the only scrub marks in damage. Never hit the outside wall, didn't hit the inside wall, or hit any other drivers. The 19 of Tyler Dangler that you see on screen, he was over the radio going, oh my God, because he found the seas of parting as he found himself able to sneak his way through that incident. But that's the damage for the 13. We'll see how long he needs to be in pit road to get the damage repair. But for Cedric Hunter, that is certainly not the way that he wanted this race to continue on. But this is right around the time that your drivers are going to be coming into pit road, and this is going to set up the rest of this field. After this pit stop, they are for sure in a one-stop spot where they just need to come in one more time, and they're good to the end of the race.
Yep, one more time here. We'll come in, and we're going to look here at Kyle. You see a little bit of damage he has, but don't look as severe as what Cedric Hunter has there, Sam. It looks like Cedric Hunter got the worst end of that one.
Yeah, and the big thing for Cedric is the fact that it's a lot more visual damage than anything else that's going to be hurting that 13. Didn't really get pushed in. It was more of a scraping action. That's why we visually see the scrub marks on that left side of the Hello Kitty. But how long he's going to be in pit road is going to be the telling sign. He's already been in for an extra 10 seconds or more. That could be showing a little bit more damage than we thought, as he's still in pit road as the rest of the field gets rolling. And for Cedric Hunter, finally it takes off. So he was in pit road for only that of 16 seconds. So it's not too bad of damage for the Hello Kitty machine.
We'll have to see how that all plays out. He's sitting in there. He's getting all that damage fixed. I don't think it's going to affect him. These cars, like I said earlier, Sam, are pretty durable cars. So, they can take a little bit of beating and still hold pace and still hold speed. So we'll have to see how that all plays out for him. I mean, he wasn't, like you said earlier, he qualified in 13th position. It's kind of shocking to see him back there. And he hasn't really been, up into the top 10 all race. He's just been mired back there just outside the top 10. So we'll have to see if he can, find some more speed or if this really does hinder him. So we'll have to find out. We'll see what happens here with that Hello Kitty machine.
Well, a driver that I talked about saw the seats partying. We're going to bring him up in the booth. Tyler Dangler in the 19. We're going to bring him up in the booth for a quick second. Tyler, it's Sam and Robert. Well, I heard over the radio you were kind of impressed with the fact that you survived this most recent incident. Give us your thoughts of being able to sneak your way through that Rochelle and Cedric Hunter incident.
Well, Sam, something like this happened at the beginning of the race. I think it was with, Gregory Shaw. He got loose on the bottom, and I just barely avoided him. And I that was kind of a brown pants moment for me, and, it kind of made me hold my breath. But yeah, that was close.
It certainly was. And Tyler, you're up in the top 10. How are you feeling comfortable wise in showing this speed here early on?
Well, usually Vegas isn't necessarily my best track performance wise, but I really do like running the track. I've done a couple AI races for a couple hours before this, so I feel a lot more comfortable, driving the track. But with the car, it's a little different because there's no AI for the next gen. But hoping for some good luck for the rest of the race. It's just, we'll see.
That we will. Well, Robert, do you have any questions for Tyler, or do you want to just send him out of here?
No, my quick question to you there, Tyler, is how's the car feel out there? Does it get pushy after a certain amount of laps, or does it seem pretty stable for you out there?
It seems pretty stable. There definitely is some fall off, but I've been able to, ride the top and then kind of get down to the bottom, and that's kept my tires kind of underneath me instead of burning it up by just staying on the bottom or just in the middle. So I'm still experimenting to where the speed's at, but I had, I think, 68% on my right front. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but the car still fit great at the time.
Well, you're looking strong right now, so we wish you nothing but the best of luck as you head down the backstretch and get ready to, finish out this race, hopefully in the top 10, man.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
That's going to be the 19 of Tyler Dangler, currently on this restart, going to be back in that of 9th position for the 19. Big thanks for Tyler for letting us pull him up into the booth, as our leaders going to be Brian Johnson, Vincent Sora, that of Chuck Sweeting, Sean Powell, as well as Steven Stympian, Zach Hall, John Peel, that of Nick Crawford, James Kaufman, as well as Tyler Dangler, going to be set up for our top 10, ready to get rolling here for that of the European Wax Center 225 at Las Vegas. Our second race of 8 this season. There's no playoffs. It's all about consistency, and we are green here at the start of lap 70 of 150 here tonight.
We go down into turn number 1, side by side again, and we're going to pay attention to that number 45 there, Sam. Sean Powell. He was up there in the beginning of the stage, fell back, and now he's up here in 3rd position, looking very strong. He looked very good last week battling Cedric Hunter there for, I believe, 5th position, 4th and 5th. And now he's up in the top 3 here, getting ready to pounce on Vincent Sora as he gets a huge run coming through.
Further back, Conroy. Others also going to be down to Tom Sinchek, I believe. Many big wrecks. Yellow flag flies as another yellow Cedric Hunter involved. Another big one, and this is the biggest one of the night, out of turn number 4. And the majority of this wreck, you could say, started all the way back in that of on the back stretch as that of Tyler Conroy was trying to make some big moves. That of Tyler Dangler, who just had brought in the booth. Big block on the 3. And they all, after that, drivers were too shallow, got too loose, and the 3 out of turn number 4, as we're going to see on this replay, going to be the catalyst on why these drivers get loose. There's the contact. There's Tom Cicek gets knocked in the wall. Same goes for Cedric Hunter, Kyle Rochelle, Gregory Shaw, and Robert. Just in a blink of an eye, we go from seeing a decent field of everyone looking pretty consistent to heavily damaged vehicles, and Tom Cicek, the next driver who's out of this race.
Wow, out of this race, and I think he needs to go mow the yard. He just threw some dirt all over the track there, Sam. But yeah, unfortunately, we're watching him yet still spin, trying to hold it down, and he's going to hit the outside wall, and that just does it. That car is toast. Another man, he qualified on the pole, I do believe, right?
Yeah, Tom Cicek, our pole sitter for this evening.
Oh, wow, that's hard, Sam. That's hard when you qualify on the pole, fall back. And we still don't know why he fell back into that field. I don't know if he got a speeding penalty or what caused him to go from stage win all the way back to the tail end of the field with an ELL. I mean, that's heartbreaking when, you know what I mean, you're up there in the front like that, and then you get a penalty and don't know what it's for. Now, if he sped, okay, well, then I understand. But if it was just a glitch in iRacing and they just left it go, that's hard. That's hard to swallow.
It really is hard to swallow, and he was moving forward, and the big reason he was involved in this wreck is because that most recent yellow that came out, he came into pit road, topped off with fuel, and now going to be seeing himself with a lot of damage for himself. And oh man, this is a hard incident for these drivers. We're coming up to halfway for this race, and now the graveyard of drivers continues to pile up. But we already had James Loveland missing the start of the race. You had Alexander Light being the first driver with heavy contact that had parked it. James Loveland, internet issues. That of Rich Jamison was involved with heavy wreck. He parked it for himself. That of Brad Delph still in pit road getting repairs done. Honestly, with the amount of drivers that have been out of this race, it makes sense for the 14 to get the repairs done and get back out on track. And Tom Cicek being the most recent driver to call it a night for himself, as the field getting stacked up and ready to go here shortly. We expect the lights to go off next time by. But Robert, this is certainly for these drivers up front, for that of Brian Johnson, Vince Sora, this has been a pretty nice and easy day for themselves. For everyone else, though, it has been nothing but torture at moments.
For now, it's been nice and easy. The race ain't over, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, they're like, yeah, this is easy. Yeah, well, wait till we get to the end of the race, and we'll find out how nice and easy it is. But, yeah, you're right now, Sam. It's just it's working out in their game plan, what they want, how they want to race this. The cards are falling into their place right now. And they're rolling the lucky dice right now, and they're winning. So we'll see if that all just keeps applying to the rest of the race. But like you said, you got carnage of guys in the back spinning around. And we noted this at the beginning of the broadcast. And drivers were warned at the start of this race, cold tires. And now we've seen back-to-back yellows on cold tires. Something happening within the 3 laps of them cold tires of getting them. So... and then we go through the heat cycle yet. We got tires getting heated up for a lap, and then they're warming down, cooling down, and then, heating back up. So that doesn't help the cards there either for these drivers. So I do believe this next restart here, they just need to take it easy like they did the beginning of the race. Let the tires warm up in the first 5 laps, and then go racing your competitors. Right now, doing what you're doing and knowing coming out of 4 that the car has a possibility of getting loose is only just, making you worried, but makes other drivers out there worried too when you see a car start kicking out and going, uh-oh, here we go. Like we talked to, Tyler there. He parted the seas and made it through, Sam, but, we'll have to see how this all plays out. I mean, hopefully everybody, takes it easy now.
Everyone else's luck going to be there to save them here tonight, as we still got a lot of drivers still out on track. Total of 16 drivers on the lead lap currently, as Cedric Hunter going to get back out on track. We also still in pit road is Brad Delph. Bob Skinner going to be the driver with the most laps down, 15, but he is on track for that 82. Then of Carl Pooler is going to be 3 laps down, and that is the last driver that is a lap down. So he's hoping to get a couple of quick cautions, get back on the lead lap. But for the drivers up front, Brian Johnson, Vincent Sora, they're up front too. They're ready to get rolling, and a little bit odd. Sean Powell, not as close as I would think on this restart. He was lingering back, didn't get the restart, and they're already wrecking. Conroy as well, as that's going to be John Peel involved with this, and we immediately get into a yellow. And that is a bizarre one of wheel spin, a little bit of contact, drivers trying to jump. And that was, for John Peel and for Conroy, both going to be innocent victims of this, as watch out for the 98. That's going to be where we find that Michael Yarrow, also going to be Christopher Norris behind. They're actually going to be the ones that jump this start immediately and gets contacted in the 70, who's going to be in that bright black and red. And you see the jump, the contact, and Conroy nowhere to go either.
I don't know what that is in the rule book, though, Sam, but yeah, I don't think you're allowed to jump the restart like that. Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays out. And Tyler Conroy is now sitting down. The guy that we were watching now is sitting down in pit road. 2 races in a row that it just not, man, hopefully his luck turns around here, because right now he's not having any luck.
He really isn't. And I was looking back again at that replay. If there was a driver at fault, that was going to be Christopher Norris in the 54. Just a little bit too antsy. Instead of waiting for the restart to really start to take off, he was right in on the back bumper of Michael Yarrow. And Yarrow was trying his best not to run over Peel, but there's nothing you can do when you got a car just shoving you. And there is the reasoning for this yellow. We got to see it live. We got to see the replay. And for us in the booth, we're going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, we're going to see how the drivers are going to test the rest of this race. We still got the rest of the half here at Las Vegas. Already starting to see a couple of tempers flaring. We'll see if they can calm down by the end of the night, but we'll be back in just a few.
I'm excited to present the 1987 Buick LeSabre. It's the latest addition to the iRacing NASCAR Legends series. Along with recent updates to aerodynamics and performance, the 1987 cars are as fun as ever to drive. From Daytona to Martinsville, you can experience what it's like to be behind the wheel of one of these legendary rides. See you on the track.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is race time here for WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series racing action as we are green after a couple of cautions that have been rolling out. We're back to green flag racing here, and for the drivers that are up front, they're hoping that they can keep things clean for now after a cluster of yellows. It's going to be that Vincent Sora up front, but the battle for second, Pal, Brian Johnson, it's on.
It's on right now. Powell's looking very, very strong right now, that number 45 machine, as he's looking down in turn number 3 and 4. Under Brian Johnson, he's going to try to power his way around as he gets loose coming out, and that's not going to help.
That's not going to help at all, and another driver getting loose. That's going to be the 25, James Kaufman, who's going to be through the grass, but at least going to keep us on track, and we're going to be seeing ourselves still green, but still, those heat cycles you were talking about, Robert, before we went into our commercial break, it has certainly hit these drivers, and it's now every time that we go green from these quick yellows, these drivers are feeling that same cold tires, loose sensation out of the corner. We'll see how they survive once out of 4 once again.
We'll see, and it looks very clean this time as they're starting to get the heat built up in these tires. They're starting to build the tire pressure up, and the more tire pressure you get, the more stable the car gets for some time and helps him drive. As right now, we got Brian Johnson looking, thinking, going the high of Vincent Sora, but decides not to. Falters back into second position as he goes down into turn 3, and Brian Johnson is running a really different line, and he's making it work as he's looking to go on the high side coming out of turn number 4 there, Sam.
This power move on the outside for Brian Johnson, and for Johnson recognizing it's time to make these moves. Brian Johnson, as well as that of Vincent Sora and Nick Crawford, all 3 drivers from Sidewinder going to be in the top 5, showing the strength of this team and the consistency. We've seen this in other leagues where these 3 drivers are teamed up with one another. Once again, the strength is there. Brian Johnson, the most winningest driver in WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series action. He's trying to get another win potentially here tonight at Las Vegas, but we do know there's a couple of drivers further back got to watch out for, such as that of Nick Crawford, that of Brian Johnson's teammate. Also, Zach Hall-Stimpian. Those are 2 drivers that are going to be very quick to watch out for. And also the question of who can come back. Chuck Sweeting, also that is Cedric Hunter. They're going to be back in that further back in the field, but certainly they're going to have some strength here if we continue to stay green.
Yep, we'll watch to see what these guys do, as see if they got the strength to do it, as we watch Christopher Norris over Tyler Dingler right there, trying to take a position. But, you're talking about Sidewinder racing there. Well, we do got Steven Stampian, and we also got Zach Hall racing with Freaky Fast Racing, new team that was established here at World Series of Sim Racing. So them 2 are working together and see maybe they can get up there and battle that other team there, because, teams here at World Series of Sim Racing is another key thing with these guys here. They like team racing. Every driver likes to be on a team, so that's all going to play out through the season too there, Sam.
It certainly is going to continue to play out, and for a lot of these drivers, the team aspect is going to be changing throughout the season, especially because this isn't a playoff type of a season. We've only got 8 races. It's all about the consistency. Who has the most points out of these 8 races wins the championship for season 4, as we ride on board with this driver behind Stimpian of Christopher Norris. Norris, catalyst of our last incident, but for the 54, still looking good and strong for 7th place, but he's got Chuck Sweeting. You see there in the mirror, that 75 closing in the blue. He certainly is getting bigger and bigger.
Getting bigger and bigger as he's going through turn 1 and 2 here, and you can see here comes Chuck. He's going to get a huge run in the mirror, but he decides not to do nothing with him right now. He lays back and says, I'll get you, little boy. I'll get you later on. There's a meme for you there, Christopher.
I mean, that's one of those things to watch out for sure, is the fact that for Chuck Sweeting, he has been known to be a lot more patient when it comes to races like this, where it could come down to fuel mileage at the end of the day, and try to pick and choose when you truly want to come in for that final stop for fuel and for tires potentially. And Chuck Sweeting, he's willing to kind of linger where he's at. He's not losing the draft. Technically, with following Norris, all these drivers are still connected by the draft for themselves, from that of the lead back to that of 12th position. But the big factor for a lot of these drivers in the middle of this group is if you're going to make the pass, you got to make sure it's quick, clean, and you don't lose any ground. And here's a pass that potentially could happen. Tyler Dangler, and also the wounded 13 of Cedric Hunter, who's been involved in a couple of incidences here tonight.
Yeah, he's trying to salvage a top 10 here right now in that number 13 machine. But I noticed with these cars and everybody that tunes in and watches these cars here on iRacing and just in general in real life, like you said, Sam, you noted on it really, really good. If you're going to make a pass, you got to make a pass fast and do it fast and clean and get by that driver, because these cars just seem to like to ride by themselves. You get side by side, they just don't seem to have that power no more as we watch Cedric Hunter do the woohoo. Wow. Well, he passed him there.
Hey, he was trusting his spotter. Hey, clear. All right, moving up. Cedric Hunter, the last time he did that was with Kyle Rochelle's front bumper, and he found the 13 being spun around, aggressive, and finding the speed out of the turn 4. That 54 of Christopher Norris just did not get the run out of the corner, and here we go into the corner. 3 different lanes and how they wanted to approach. Norris is at the quarter panel of that of Cedric Hunter, and you talked about being side by side. The main thing that hurts these drivers is the side draft. Yes, iRacing's done an update, last week of making the side draft and the drafting package not as strong and not hurting the drivers as much, but there is still side drafting that's hurting the drivers right now. As the 13 can't really see the little kitty on that right side, on the left side, but the pink machine is still in cruise control in 8th place. Next driver in line going to be Chuck Sweeting, but Bass Pro Shops Tyler Dangler might think otherwise. But for Chuck Sweeting, he's kind of in the middle of nowhere. He's just outside of the range of the draft for our top 6, and also a little bit too far back to be worrying about Cedric Hunter for now.
Yeah, too far back right now. Now the question to you, Sam, is as these guys look like they got on lap 92, it looks like they're calming down a little bit. Yeah, we got some side-by-side racing, but they're also giving room. On a note, I just want to hear your opinion about it. What do you think about these Gen 7 cars on what we've seen so far with all the races that you have called and seen? What do these cars like, and what do these cars dislike? Because I always been watching, the past couple months here now on iRacing, on other streams like LSR TV that you cover over there with Charles. What do you see out of these cars? What don't they like, and what do they like?
Well, the big thing for these Gen 7 next-gen vehicles and Cup cars is the big thing is working with the throttle. The throttle is a lot more of a factor than it was back in the Gen 6 car. So the drivers really are working the throttle in the early portions of these races, when there's some tracks in the past Cup machines where you can just full throttle your way through these, the first 5 to 10 laps, and you'd be just pack racing because of how much you were full throttling. It felt like you were at a super speedway race. Well, for these Gen 7s, got to give major credit to iRacing on the fact that they have updated these cars a ton and allowing these cars to really develop more each week that we see the real life drivers racing, as going to be seeing Skinner on the outside. Drivers have to dive down low underneath the lap machine. But I got to give, again, iRacing's done a great job working with NASCAR, developing, making these Gen 7 cars a lot more of a driver's car, meaning it's a lot more of a handful. And as well, credit to the admins from WSSR iRacing iFlag Cup Series. They've actually been modifying and changing the setups to make it a lot more drivable for this series, so that's not completely wicked loose on the entry and exit of the corners. It's more so of the exit when you got these cold tires that we've been seeing. This longer green flag run, a lot more stabilized as they're coming out of turn 4.
Yep, coming out of turn 4. All right, well, thank you for that input there, Sam. Do much appreciated. As we get back to the action-packed racing here with WSSR at Las Vegas, round number 2, brought to you by iRacing iFlags. Make sure you go to www.iracingiflag.com for your awesome iFlag, and trust me, you get one and caution comes out, or green flag or red flag, yellow flag, white flag, it's all there for you. So yeah, go make sure you check them out. We do much appreciate it. But right now we got Nick Crawford looking underneath right now of Zach Hall, trying to work something, but Steven Stempien is going to pull up right beside him going down to turn number 1, and he's going to let that car drift up a little bit. And this is right there. Look at the run he gets coming out of turn number 2 to head down the backstretch.
Yeah, that run. The big thing for Stempien there is you saw him drift high on the entry of the corner. The reason why he did that and then arched his way back down was at the center of the corner. He was actually able to get that 81 a lot more straight sooner, so he was able to get much more of a long stretch, a longer straight line speed Instead of these drivers had to continue turning because they were so down low and trying to follow that white line, enabling the 81 to keep that position over Nick Crawford. Crawford, though, big credit. He is our biggest mover of the night, up 14 positions. He's qualified back in that of 20th, as well as Chuck Sweeting, who qualified in 13th. These are some of the drivers that qualified outside the top 10 and had some great runs to keep themselves up front.
Oh, keep themselves up front. As we'll go back through the rest of the field here, we've got the number 70 back here. That was unfortunately involved in that incident on that restart. No pun intended to him, but he's back here running in 14th position right now, trying to salvage something out of that roasted coffee machine there, Sam. And, it is what it is. He's just going to try to finish out this race and, move on to next week as we complete lap 100. We should have, I roughly would think, probably in the next 10 to 15 laps, pit road should be opening up for these guys because you don't want to waste too much time and then eventually not utilize your tires. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But John back here just plugging away.
Yeah, John Peel back in 14th, and in front of him is going to be that of Kyle Rochelle in the 5. That also has been having kind of a rough day for himself in 13th. Up 9 positions. He qualified back in 22nd. Not the best qualifying run for himself. A couple of other drivers. Here's that of James Kaufman. And Kaufman, on our last restart, on the cold tires, got loose out of turn 4, went through the grass that of 20 laps ago, and really hasn't been able to rebound since then in this 25. Just hoping for a caution flag to come out to really reset and give Kaufman a better opportunity to try to go for a top 10 finish here this evening. And then also some other drivers further back that are trying to just have some good days for themselves. Back in 16th, it's that of James Hackworth Jr. that's been in cruise control, just keeping himself out of trouble, and has been doing a fantastic job at that. But as we move back up front to our leaders, I gotta say here, Robert, for that of Brian Johnson, Vincent Sora, Powell, Paul, Stimpy, and this whole entire cluster of drivers, this is our top 7 that are all connected in this lead pack. When they come into pit road, they have to be in a lot of communication with everyone around them, because if one driver drops down and just slams on the brakes trying to slow up to go into pit road, that could cause calamity. So all the drivers, they got to be having their head on a swivel, recognizing anytime a driver slows down, if they don't go over the radio and say, hey, I'm coming into pit road now.
Well, yeah, it's like running at Talladega or Super Speed or Daytona. When you make a pit stop at them kind of plate tracks, you're always going to have the guy in the front either go left or go right, and then the car behind, it staggers back and forth, so you don't run into each other. So this can happen here with all these cars, the top 5 all on top of each other. Well, that third position, say Sean Powell decides he's going to make a pit stop, everybody else behind him comes in. Well, they don't know if he's going left, they don't know if he's going right, or if he's staying in the center. And things can happen here right now. But right now, the car that is on the move up here in this top 5 is Steven Stempian. He made his way around Nick Crawford about a lap and a half ago, and now he finally made his way around his teammate there, Zach Hall, and now he's goking on the back bumper of Powell as, see right there, we were just talking to, and Zach Hall just clipped Powell.
Clips Powell. Powell going to be going into pit road, and Powell luckily was not caught speeding, but obviously could have been penalized there. A lot of drivers, that was not the best way. Never went over that of the text chat for the drivers, never went over the radio. That was a blind pit stop from the 45. That certainly, like I noted on, could have brought out a big wreck. Luckily, everyone was understanding. We've got to move out of the way now. Otherwise, the big one's striking.
Well, that's it. I don't know if did he call that pit road?
Never called it.
Oh, see, and Zach Hall actually got a little damage out of that, Sam. I mean, Zach Hall did a little clip. I seen the sparks fly. I don't think it's too much damage there on the left front, but still, yeah, he should have called that out. That's dangerous, especially when we were just talking about it. I mean, that could have been calamity for the top 5.
It really can be, and now for that Powell, he's got to hope that this race stays green from here on out. He's going to find himself being a lap down, but up front, the question is, when will this cluster of drivers, who's going to be the next one to come to pit road? It's now our top 6 that have to make this decision. But you talked about Steven Stempian, biggest mover right now of those the driver that was on the move, I should say. That 81 now by that of Brian Johnson. Next target going to be Vincent Sora.
Yeah, next target is Vincent Sora. But 5 laps ago, he was back there, running in 5th, 6th position. You know, now he's up here in second. That car is showing some speed, and I know he was out. We talked to him the other night. I'm not sure if you were in the Discord chat there, Sam, but he was very, very excited about this race. He was ready for this thing. As look at this. I'm telling you, this 81 is on the rails right now, ladies and gentlemen. But go back to what I was saying is that he was ready for this race. He was excited. He was ready to go. He couldn't wait to get racing with these guys here on Saturday night.
Saturday night, I mean, it's the time to see how the rookies are going to fray, because last week it was Vincent Sora taking the last dash pass over Zach Hall with a great pitch strategy call for the 15. And now we got the rookies up front. It's Vincent Sora, Steven Stimpian, both looking strong. And it was Vincent Sora that was looking have the best strength on the short run. He had a little bit more patience here on this go around that put him in the lead. But Stimpian, obviously, like you said, he is looking very stout at this moment. And you can tell by the lap times. I mean, he's been running almost a full 10 faster than everyone else around him. The draft is helping him that. But at the same time, he has been just waiting and looming in that 6th place position for so long until it was time to pounce. And now he's utilizing those tires that he's been saving up on.
He's using his tires, and here we are with 111 laps of 150 in the books. And, you know, pit road has opened up for all these drivers. Now, the question is when do you make that pit stop there, Sam? You know, these top 5, do they go to about a lap 120? Do they go lap 125, that 25-lap stint on their last tire set? Or do they, you know, I mean, what do you do? How do you play it out? Because we've seen this last week with Vincent Sora, you know, at Auto Club. They went in and made a pit stop. He was leading, and then he went in. He came out, I think, like in 4th position, 3rd position, somewhere around there. And he just bided his time. And he closed the field down. And by the end of the race, he passed Zach Hall to take that win of season number 4, season opener. So does he learn something tonight from last week and says, okay, no problem, I need to pit on this lap, and I know I can regain that back if I have to push a little bit harder. It's okay, I have the tires to do it? Or is he worried back there of going, I don't know, this Steven Stempian guy is pretty fast here tonight?
Well, I mean, for Vincent Sora, he kind of did what I call the Goldilocks effect of trying to find that sweet middle ground. You got some drivers that are going to pit extremely early, just like what we saw Powell. Also, want to give that of Chuck Sweeting and a couple of other drivers that of Carl Pooler all came into pit road that last lap. But the drivers that picked the middle, right between, you know, the drivers that are doing an undercut and those who are trying to do an overcut, you can find that sweet spot. You're going to be able to maximize your speed. We're going to have a big enough lead. And the drivers that pitted later, they just gave up too much time and ground. But for Vincent Sora, Stimpian, if you're one of our leaders, this is when you get kind of trapped in those question mark spots of when do I truly want to come in? Chuck Sweeting, he's going to have to do his best to try to run down. But, you know, Robert, something we haven't really talked about. We kind of talked about it a little bit last week at Auto Club when we started to see some green flag pit stops. But the tire drop-off is not as dramatic as it was back in the Gen 6 car. The Gen 6 car, you knew it was pit cycle time when the tires were about 2 seconds off of their fastest time of the whole entire race. Well, for our leaders right now, they're just pitting about a second off of their fastest time. So if you're going to do an undercut, you better hope that you are flying and putting some burner lap times down and building up that lead so no one else can catch up to you.
Well, that's key. That's key what you said there, Sam. And, you know, the question is, you know, tire fall off is not as big as it was in the Gen 6. So, like you said, just finding that sweet spot becomes just more sweeter to find. And if you don't hit that at the right time or the right, you know, pit stop, it's not going to help you. You're not going to make the ground up. Like you said, you're going to have to be running, you know, 2, 3, maybe even up to 6/10 faster than what you normally would be running just to remake up that ground that you lost. So I don't know. And you know, a lot of these drivers, this is a new car. It's only been out for about 2 months, maybe 3 months. There's been some updates. So all these drivers out on the track right now are just getting the data. You know, they're still learning. They're still learning the tracks. They do practice throughout the week and know what the tires do and things like that. But totally different when it comes to race condition. When you're physically racing racing against somebody instead of racing in practice against somebody. It's a whole different beast out there. So we'll have to see how these all play out. But I would imagine that these guys here in the next 2 laps, they should be pitting. The top 5 should be pitting, I think, around lap 120 would be my guess.
Yeah, 120 to 123 is the marker I'm expecting a lot of these drivers to think about coming into pit road. Some might even try to stretch it out to that of all the way out, so 125 might be also the window. If you go any further than that, you might not have enough time to run down the rest of this field. Also, if the drivers that continue to stay out, could be thinking of if a late yellow comes out, potential is also still going to be there. More drivers have hit pit road. Christopher Norris going to be the next driver that has done so, as we still wait for Vincent Sora, Stimpian Hall, Brian Johnson, Nick Crawford, Dangler, Michael Yarrow, Cedric Hunter. All these drivers from about 12th up to our leaders all still need to come into pit road.
We'll have to see how this all plays out, as Brian Johnson, lap 20, has hit pit road there, Sam. So he's the first one out of these top 5 that finally come down pit road and says, it's time. I'm not going to wait any longer. I need to do something here. And we'll see what Vincent Soares, Steven Stempian, and Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Tyler Dingler now up. He might be 5 seconds behind, but he's up in 5th position, and we'll see what these guys can do in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for Tyler Dingler here, as I'm watching, also for Michael Yarrow, those drivers are just being passed as into pit road. Going to be seeing that of Vincent Sora coming in, and certainly a little bit of a scare for himself as Stimpian came flying on by. Was a little bit close, but luckily there was plenty of space for both of those drivers coming into their pit stalls. But those scares, they certainly come out of nowhere.
I think Steven Stempian just had a Brown moment. Oh, man. That was, wow, these pit stops are dangerous. I thought we'd see the action-packed racing as Zach Hall's going to go by. Steven Stempian is going to come down and make his pit stop on lap 121. But I thought we'd see a lot more beating and banging out on the track and not almost entering pit road there, Sam.
Yeah, and Vincent Sora came in the lap before that. Same goes for Nick Crawford and also that of Michael Yarrow. A couple of drivers I was expecting to maybe stay out a little bit longer. Stimpian comes in as you see him coming into his box. Also Tyler Dangler following suit as these drivers race on by. The driver that came in first, going to be Sean Powell. He is going to be leading over Chuck Sweeting by about 3.3 seconds. Here comes Hall into pit road. See if Cedric Hunter wants to come in. Will not. He'll stay out for an extra lap. Kaufman will be the next driver, as well as Peel. Those are going to be the last 2 drivers. Not really in a winnable state, those 2 are, unless they decide to stay out and potentially just wait for a yellow flag to wave.
Yeah, I mean, what Cedric Hunter got to lose, except maybe track position. This is all going to come down and find out as we got Chuck going underneath Cedric Hunter there. I would imagine Cedric Hunter's a very smart driver. I think he's probably going to hit pit road. I don't think he rides this completely out, but I could be totally wrong. But we'll have to see how this plays out, because once they all make a pit stop, like you said, Powell should take over this lead, and it looks like roughly he's going to be, what's he looking at over Zach Hall or Brian Johnson now, actually?
Chuck Sweeting going to be the first one that he's got to be careful of.
Okay.
And that's going to be 2.7 seconds of difference there. Vincent Sora going to be about 3 seconds back. Brian Johnson about 4.2 seconds back. So there is a difference of drivers trying to run down as Johnson unlaps himself the hard way. Zach Hall is going to be the next driver to watch out. Or does Zach Hall? Zach Hall through the grass for the 24. He got loose out of the corner. And the 24 is going to be back on track. He's spinning now out of getting out. And that's going to be the yellow that Cedric Hunter and Kaufman and other were waiting for.
Wow. Oh, and somebody just wiped out. I just heard it. You didn't hear it, Sam. I heard it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. Somebody smashed the wall or something, Sam.
Might have been a driver. That's going to be Nick Crawford that actually hit the wall. After getting by that of Zach Hall, the 11 was the one that hit the wall that you heard.
Wow. I mean, all I heard was wheel spin and tires squeaking and all of a sudden a kaboom. But we're not getting it on the replay, but we do got Zach Hall. Let's go back on the instant replay and see if we can find out exactly what happened here with Zach Hall. As you can see him going through the grass. He got loose coming out of 4 on cold tires. Probably caught him off guard. And look at him just bounce this thing across over the pavement, back onto the grass. thinks he's got it under control, but I think this is right here's where he loses it. Yep, he just lost it, hitting the apron. Oh, there's Nick Crawford trying to avoid him, goes on to the outside and hits the wall, and
That
unfortunately,
wasn't the clobber for the 11. That was just him getting loose on the entry of the corner because he was trying to avoid the 24. As we continue to watch, this is when he gets loose that you were talking about, that squealing sound. It's right here. Just gets out of control, drops down too much, squeals, and then he goes up into the outside wall.
oh, you can see a diffuser hit, and just once that diffuser hits that pavement, it upsets the car bad. It's like a grinding stone. It just grinds into the pavement, and you can see him. He just smacked the outside wall hard. And like you said, man, it was loud on our side, and I know the fans heard it out there, Sam, because it caught me off guard, sir.
As now with the timing of this yellow, it's going to allow some drivers to come into pit road. That's going to be Vincent Soar, Brian Johnson, Powell, Chuck Sweeting, Cedric Hunter, John Peel, as well as James Kaufman. With staying out, they were on the lead lap, and it's going to be our top 7 with that, with also going to be Steven Stimpian getting the lucky dog. And then from 9th all the way back to 15th, our drivers are going to take the wave around to get back onto the lead lap, but they're going to be on much older tires. And Zach Hall is going to be a part of the drivers that are going to take that wave around.
We'll have to see how this all plays out, because Vincent Sora and Brian Johnson pitted on lap 120 and 119. Then you got Cedric Hunter, you got James, you got Sean Powell, all pitting on lap 126. Well, is there going to be much of a difference, Sam, on tires? Do you think 6 to 7 laps is going to be huge at the beginning of, fresh tires? I don't think it would be, once they fall off in what we call here, or in any broadcasting, a plateau. But with fresh tires, with a little bit of old rubber, will there be a huge difference in speed, do you think?
I think it's going to be a little bit of helpful for the drivers that have fresh tires here. But I think the big thing I'm really kind of scratching my head about is why didn't Vincent Sora and Brian Johnson just come into pit road and take that extra set? Yes, they might have felt like it was only just, a handful of laps we were running of Green Flag Racing, but you have an extra set into pit road. This is the perfect time, and this is the only time really that I would say you could come in, take that extra set and that final set of the race and not feel worried about the rest of the field behind you, because they're going to need a lot of time to make their way forward to make all these passes. This is a gutsy call from Sora and Johnson, but hey, sometimes you just got to trust the drivers that have been up front and have already found themselves into victory lane. You got the most winningest driver and the driver that's won already this season up front making these gutsy calls.
Yeah, very, very true. Let the drivers make that call. I'm not the crew chief. So, I mean, us sitting up here in the booth looking down at these guys going, I would have pitted and took them tires. But, 10 laps into this run, we would be only on like lap 140, give or take. And if a yellow comes out, Sam, they can go in and take their last set of tires, and they could look like Superman out there compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, but we're still, this is going to be a tricky spot for a lot of these drivers. You got to remember all the drivers that just came into pit road. Cedric Hunter, Kaufman, Powell, Peel, as well as Chuck Sweeting all just came into pit road. They're going to have those cold tires. Same goes to that of James Hackworth Jr. going to be back in 15th. But for all those drivers that just took fresh, just got onto these cold tires, especially in the fact that we're going to have a restart here. Robert, we've seen it a lot, especially on these last about 4 restarts. The exit at turn 4 has been the tricky spot, especially in the first 2 to 3 laps, that we get this restart going. Could see another big one here if the drivers aren't careful.
Very true, very true. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to the all proud sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and WSSR. We do much appreciate everybody coming aboard, making this possible, making this happen. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have what we have. And also to all the fans out there, thank you again for tuning in here. Hopefully you enjoy the last 30, what are we looking at, 20 laps here of this race here. And hopefully your driver that you've been rooting for all night brings it home if they're still out on the track up front. But we're going to find out as they're getting side by side, getting ready to go back green here, Sam, for 20 lap shootout here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Getting ready for 21 laps of hard racing here. Can we make it to the end of the race all green, or will we need a couple of more restarts? It's time to find out. Pace car is off, and for that of the European Wax Center 225, we're green. Once again, it's Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson. They're going to take us off to the green flag, and they're going to be on that of just about 7 lap older tires compared to 13 of Cedric Hunter. But Hunter, how aggressive can he be on these tires? Will it falter? Powell's going to be blinking a little bit more here later on in this race. But now the mixture of who's going to be fast up front, it's on. It's our top 3, top 4. Watch out for Sean Powell here.
Sean Powell is going to be looking down underneath. He's been pretty fast here. Brian Johnson finally made himself up into the lead. He's looking pretty fast here as they come out of turn 4 to go back down to the front straightaway. Vincent Sora now, you know, what did he learn? He learned a lot through this race here of 131 laps of 150, but right now, Sean Powell in that number 45 is hunting underneath that Hello Kitty in that number 13 position for 3rd position as they go down into turn number 3 here, Sam, and it's got spread out pretty big. The field really is not up against each other like I thought they would be.
Yeah, you would think that they would have been, but you had that of seeing John Peel as well as a couple of other drivers that were heavily damaged. It mixed in between our front 4, and the rest of the drivers had to do a wave around to get back onto the lead lap. So it really clogged things down. Steven Stimpian going to be 1.7 seconds back from our leader, only 0.8 seconds back from 4th place. Stimpian is slowly catching up to Cedric Hunter, but this means he has to burn off these tires immediately just to catch up to our front 4.
Yeah, and the faster you burn them off, the faster you go fast, but the faster you can go slower. So the problem is that we'll see how much he had the fast car. We know what Steven Stimpian had on the long run, Sam. You know, he was passing Nick Crawford. He was passing all the guys. He was working his way up through the field. So my eye is on that number 81 right now. What does he have in the tank to catch up to Hunter, Powell, Johnson, and Sora? Can he do something? Because he's got the draft of Cedric Hunter. Now the question is catching somebody? Yeah, easy way. Passing somebody sometimes can't be as easy as what you think. And Cedric Hunter is one of them drivers, ladies and gentlemen, that, yeah, he doesn't give sometimes. It's hard to pass.
Well, he's hard to pass, but right now the damaged Hello Kitty machine he has nothing to defend with. He has to just give up those positions to Stimpian and Sweeting, and also the fact that Stimpian and his teammates with Cedric Hunter makes sense why that pass was so easy for themselves, but Stimpian now is in the hard path. He had the slight draft assistance from Cedric Hunter there for just that lap, but it really wasn't enough to try to run down our top 3, Powell, Sora, as well as Brian Johnson. It's more so Brian Johnson and Sora that are the favorites coming into the last stages of this race than it is of Sean Powell. Powell just looks so underwhelmed. Yes, he has the slightly fresher tires, but this 45 just does not look like he is in the mode to go race up for a front 2. He's just in cruise control while having internet issues.
Yeah, internet issues is not going to help him either because, the game looks at physics, as we all know, and if you don't know out there, ladies and gentlemen, or go back and watch this, every time Powell blinks out, he can lose to draft because the game doesn't see you in the game. So, or in the sim, whatever you want to call it, and that hurts. That's not good. It's not good for him. So hopefully that that connection issue gets cleared up there for him, and he can maybe do something and maybe possibly get his first win here at WSSR because after the first week at Auto Club, that is a driver that I'm starting to pay attention to. I think he's going to be a contender all year long, Sam. I see it coming with him, and I do see a win coming out of that 45 stable here very shortly.
Well, he's starting to see, I've got the fresher tires. Let you guys just pull away, use up your stuff. I'm going to close in this gap ever so slightly. That last time by, 1/10 faster was Sean Powell. We've got 13 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Brian Johnson, he's now starting to surge. They're going to be side by side. This is closing in that 45 into the picture here. But the big thing is if we see our top 3 really start to battle here, Robert, that's when we look back to 4th, 5th, 6th, Stimpian, Sweeting, as well as Hall. How well can they close in on our top 3?
Oh, that's the question. Them guys back there in 4th, 5th, 6th position, they want to see these guys side by side just like this. side-by-side racing, top 3, and that's going to help Steven Stempian, Chuck, and Hall, hopefully gather up and come across as, Powell just got loose coming out of number 2 there, but he does stick it. Gets underneath Brian Johnson, our winningest driver here at WSSR, and he's battling a champion there right now. Powell don't realize who this guy is, but if he can beat him, good job, man. Good job, because there's a lot of drivers out there that have tried.
They've tried. They will. They've been willing to do anything and everything to beat Brian Johnson, but is Brian Johnson potentially playing a little bit of a possum, letting that of Vincent Sora go, letting his teammate race it out, defending on Powell for a quick second. And here comes Powell, not going to be surging forward, but those last 2 laps, with the fact that we've been seeing Vincent Sora, Powell, and Johnson battling with one another, they've given away about 0.3 of a second to that of Steven Stempian. Stempian is closing in on these drivers. That's going to be a big thing to watch out for this 81, but he's going to need a lot more help. 10 laps to go, and the battle for the lead is on. Here comes Sean Powell to the inside on Vincent Sora.
He's looking underneath Vincent Sora, that McConey setup shop, Ford, actually, do apologize, that Ford Mustang there, as we got the Camaro underneath him, as, he touches that white line, Sam. That's not good.
The apron's not your friend, and Powell, he's going to do everything, trying to side draft, get right to that outside quarter panel of the 15 to slow them down, pull back the 15, don't let them get too far out there, and then in the center of the corner, get back to the throttle before that of Vincent Sora. For him to defend, he's got to get right on side by side. They're side drafting through the corner, pinching, aggressive racing from these drivers. 9 laps to go, and Powell has to reset, recoup. Now I take that back. He's going to go straight on attack mode coming out of turn 4.
Well, he needs to stay on attack mode. He has to attack each corner here. He's got the fresher tires, and he's got to attack Sam. He's got to use that side draft, which he is, and he's got to attack is what they're saying, as Steven Stempian is now down to almost a second, and that 81 is coming, and so is Chuck Sweeting back there in 5th position. They are closing the gap slowly but surely, as Brian Johnson is falling off a little bit, and I think Brian Johnson's tires are starting to wear down on him a little bit. But how long does Vincent Sora, with 8 laps to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, how long does his tires last, Sam? Can he hold this 45 off for 7 more laps?
I mean, he's been playing defensive practically since the drop of the green. He's been testing different ways to stall out drivers. For Sean Powell, he has certainly been defending properly. It's been a master class of how you're supposed to defend by the youngster, Vincent Sora. He has been flying, and he's been doing a great job of defending. He's trying to go back-to-back to start out Season 4 here at WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series action, and it is all Vincent Sora, Sean Powell. But the big thing is, once we see Powell right here, getting right back to the quarter panel, trying to defend, may battle and force Sora to lose some time, we know, Robert, that 81 is Stempian. He's within a second. He's right there, but he's got to get by Brian Johnson and then by 2 other drivers if he wants the lead.
Yeah, and with 6 laps to go, I was just watching it while you were talking there. I was watching the scoring pylon. I don't think he's going to have enough laps. He would really have to pick up the pace really, really fast unless something majorly happens with these top 2. Not saying wrecking-wise, but bumping into each other, getting loose, something like that, where it would really hinder their top 2 positions, because we are now getting ready to go 4 laps down here, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know if Powell used up his tires or not, or if he's settling back going, okay, got to cool him down, wait for about 3 to 2 laps to go, and see if I can pounce on this 15 machine again.
I mean, Robert, it's Las Vegas, though. Here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for Vincent Sora, it has not been the best of luck here at this track. And he's got to hope that Powell doesn't make any mistakes of once they get battling once more. But Powell right now just settling, waiting. Could be waiting for that final couple of laps before he really could start to attack. But these last couple of laps, he's been losing time. That time hitting the apron, drifting up just slightly. This 45, he's got to be careful. He's throwing away any opportunity that he has. 3 laps to go. Vincent Sora looking good to go back-to-back here at the start of Season 4.
And wouldn't that be something in Season 4, going back-to-back, rookie of the season so far and rookie of the season. that would be something to show all drivers. Look, I am here. I'm here to stay. You're going to have to battle me all season. And he's going to get a great points lead. He did great in Auto Club last week and got maximized points there, Sam. So coming out of here with another win and getting the most points that he can again, man, I don't know. With 2 laps to go here, Sean Powell needs to find something, either get out of that dirty air going down the backstretch or something. But I just don't see him. He's 2/10 behind. I think Vincent Sora's going to look good here as we go into turn 3 and 4, Sam.
You can never call never, but certainly it's been a strong run as coming out of turn number 4. It's your going to be seeing European Wax Center white flag in the air. It's Vincent Sora. Sean Powell, 2/10 is the difference. And Powell's really got to send it into these corners and hope that he can keep close enough. He's going to dug deep. He's digging for everything. He's down to the white line. He's on the back quarter panel. That's a great launch. He's going to be right there going into turn number 3. Sean Powell, Vincent Sora, rookie v. rookie. Who's going to get it done here at Vegas? And it's going to be Vincent Sora with the defensive line. Bobbles, moves up to the 45. Sora out of turn number 4. Powell's got one opportunity. It's not close enough. Back to back here for season 4. It's the 15 of Vincent Sora.
Congratulations to Vincent Sora. Back to back, that McConey setup shot Ford Mustang looking strong for the first 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, congratulations, man. What a race. What a race that 15 had, man. Just power, and what a good finish for these top 5s as we got Powell. Great finish again. He looked good last week. And then we also got Steven Stempy and Chuck bringing it home 5th position there, Sam. Looking really good. Finally got a good top 5 out of that. And rounding out, looking down really the rest of the field, we have a lot of good drivers actually here. We got Tyler Dingler finishing 7th. We got Peel finishing in 9th. We got Yarrow finishing in 10th. So top 10, man. Drivers that you would not think being up there finished up in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to look at this field, and you look through, I mean, it is a mixture of veterans that have been a part of WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series history from the beginning. You got other drivers that this is their debut season. And for Vincent Sora, Sean Powell, almost Steven Stempy, we almost had a rookie lockout for the podium position. Stempy is going to come up just shy there, but holy smokes, does this field got to look at Vincent Sora and think this is the kid that we got to beat. The rookie sensation going for Rookie of the Year and Driver Championship of the season. It is going to be Vincent Sora. But as he's burning it down, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to have Brian Johnson, Sean Powell in the back-to-back winner. Vincent Sora up in the booth for our post-race show. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the post-race show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the World Series of Sim Racing iFlag, that of the iRacing iFlag Cup Series. And what a race it was. Vincent Sora going back-to-back to start out the season in our first two races. It's a short season. The 15 is already looking like the favorite to try to sweep the rest of this season. But before we talk to our winner, we got third place finisher, that of Brian Johnson, to get his thoughts on how tonight went. Brian, it's Sam up in the booth. What a run for yourself. Third place finish, but you almost lost it there to Steven Stimpy. And what was going through your mind there in those last 20 laps?
Well, that highlighter in my mirror kept getting bigger and bigger. It had me worried there for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this week's a big improvement from last week. Stayed out of the wall, so that's good. Um, but yeah, that last little run right there was able to get around Vincent, but I burned up my right front too much. There's a specific there's a certain balance with these cars between speed and maintaining that right front tire temp. And in the Gen 6 cars, I had a pretty good handle on it, but it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for me with these cars. Kind of missed the mark tonight, but I mean, Vincent, he's hit these cars pretty good right out of the gate. So good to see that. From a teammate perspective, but yeah, race was pretty good. We had our practice race Wednesday night, and for me that did not go well at all. So I will take third place tonight.
I mean, Brian, talking about the teammate aspect of it, I mean, the whole our team as a whole from Sidewinder Motorsports really has showed off very strong speed for most of this race. How are you feeling, though, in these next couple of weeks, knowing there's no playoffs, you're not really racing for the team, it's more for yourself. How are you going to be trying to battle or muscle your way past Vincent Sora and Nick Crawford in these next couple of weeks?
Well, it's going to be pretty tough because Nick, he just got a pretty big upgrade with his sim rig. He got a VR headset yesterday actually, so that little bit of realism increase for him is I think it's going to help him a lot. So I'm expecting him to get pretty good here in the next couple weeks. So he's going to start being a lot tougher to beat. And then Vinny, like I said, he's got a really good handle on these cars right from the get go. So I'm gonna have to do some more practicing, more experimenting, or just be a little bit more right front tire conscious when I'm out there. But yeah, it's going to be tough. And with our playoff format with this short season with no playoffs, if this was the Gen 6 cars, I would be very excited because that was usually heading into the playoffs, I was either first or second in the regular season with if I was first. Typically had a pretty decent lead, so this championship style that we have really should suit me. But unfortunately, I think sixth last week and then third tonight with Vincent winning both races. He's already got a pretty good gap built, and if he doesn't slow down, he's going to be the favorite.
Certainly is going to try to be. But Brian, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Well, just got to thank you guys as always for putting on a great show, and everybody that tuned in. Definitely appreciate that one. And all the drivers here at WSSR had another really good race here tonight. And then all my all my teammates at Cat 5, and but more specifically with this league, Sidewinder Motorsports, my teammates Vincent Soar and Nick Crawford, give them a shout out, and just shout out to Vincent for the win.
That's going to be Brian Johnson coming away third place here tonight at Las Vegas for the 28 machine. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into Richmond next week.
All right, thank you, sir.
As we go from third place, we got second place runner, that of Sean Powell, up in the booth in the 45. Thought maybe he could try to steal away the win. He did everything he could. Came within 2/10 there at the end. We got Sean Powell up in the booth with myself. Sean, what a run for yourself. You almost beat Vincent Sora there, but what else could you have tried to do there in those last 10 laps?
Probably. I think it all originated from the restart there. Like, I could let them get ahead just a little bit too much for my liking with my 4 or 5 lap fresh tires because it ain't too much of a fall, like a second fall, I believe. And I knew with 5 lap older tires and what he had, by the time I got to him, maybe equalized pretty much. So I would just like I think that's really what it boils down to. It's just hard to pass when you get like 5 or 10 laps on your tires, or let's say 10 plus laps on your tires.
I mean,
But
Sean,
Vincent was fast.
he certainly was. And Sean, I mean, you put on a great showing for yourself. You were up front in the top five, top three for most of this evening. How does this help you, though, gain a second place finish with your momentum going into the rest of the season? We got that of Richmond, the Indy Road Course, as well as Talladega coming up. I mean, all three very different courses, but how do you think that this track and racing with these drivers these last 2 weeks have helped you out?
Like I think the upcoming tracks is more Richmond. What is Richmond next track? I'm assuming.
Yes,
So if
Richmond is
that
next.
is so, with this, you can't really compare the tracks. That's coming up. Like you said, it's kind of hard. But I know one thing. I passed a lot of cars tonight. I think that's going to help me at short tracks or like Richmond or like um what's the next track after that? A road course. So I think getting down with passing like I did tonight. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I spun off the exit of pit road like a noob. But went from the back to the front, and I didn't really have no problem passing until I got like the top five. But you got to take just like I said earlier, you got to pass the first 10 laps if you're gonna pass because it's loose. The set just built tight over a run. It started off free, and it just built tight every lap.
Well, overall, a great run for yourself. Second place for you, Sean. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I want to give a shout out to Phase Two. Chasey Works, give a shout out to Tyler for spotting me tonight. Liquid Molly for the huge sponsor this year, being on board. Um, and y'all for y'all for broadcasting the race. I do a good job.
Well, thank you, Sean, as that is going to be the 45. Going to get second place here tonight. Job, pal. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into Richmond next week.
Thanks.
As we go from second place, we go to Victory Lane, where we find ourselves with Vincent Sora once again up front, leading the way. Hey, Vinny, rookie, and you find yourself going back to back to start out the season. How are you feeling with this victory?
I'm feeling really good. That's really cool to go back to back. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it tonight. I actually went in the race not so confident because I honestly wasn't a big fan of how the set drove. It was really tight. But I dialed some rear brake bias into it, and I messed with the steering ratio, and I didn't really get much practice. I think I only turned like one lap. But I qualified better than I expected to, and I was able to get the lead early. I got the clean air and kind of just got to figure some stuff out for the first 15 or so laps, and just got into a rhythm and went on from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing of us watching up from the booth. That first stage, we saw how aggressive you were and how much you were brutalizing on those tires at the first portion. Then you lost the lead. But then as the race kind of developed, I mean, how much of that first stage helped you to figure out the ending on how to save those tires?
It helped a lot, because yeah, like you said in the first run, I kinda lost my tires there a little bit. A little more during the mid-run. During the long run, I actually kinda got them back. I had a little bit of a second win, and I started to catch stimp and pull away from Zach and Brian behind me, but yeah, it helped a lot, learning. I kinda did the same thing last week, figuring some stuff out, a little bit during the first run of the race, and it seems to be working, so I guess I just need to do that every week.
Well, you're back-to-back winner now to start the season off. How confident are you now feeling going into Richmond next week?
Very, especially because 'cause it's been one of my better tracks on the service. I won my last league race there, and I just love that track. It's super fun, short track. We did a recruit race there a couple weeks ago, and I actually won that too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Vinny, you won once again. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the league. Without them, none of this would be possible, and they've shown up with very good numbers 2 weeks in a row. So thanks to them. I want to thank all of our sponsors that help the league. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting because you guys do a great job. I want to thank all the admin team, my teammates on Category 5 Esports, McConey Setup Shop, and Sidewinder Racing.
That's going to be the number 15 of Vincent Sora, going to be able to get his back-to-back win to start out the season. He's now the head points leader, and he's going to be the driver to watch out from here on out. Congratulations, Vinny, on the win, and good luck going into next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, from our post-race show of talking to our top three, let's take a look at what are that final unofficial results of that of the European Wax Center 225 is going to be looking like for these drivers. We talked to our top three: Vincent Sora, Sean Powell, and Brian Johnson. It's going to be Steven Stympian, Chuck Sweeting finishing out our top five with Zach Hall, Tyler Dengler, as well as that of Cedric Hunter, John Peel, and Michael Yarrow going to be finishing out our top 10. Nick Crawford falls back to 12th. Kyle Rochelle back to 15th, as well as that of Tyler Conroy in 19th. Tom Sidchek 20th. Those are some drivers we were expecting some good runs from. Wasn't there. And you hate to see that type of an issue, as that's going to be our unofficial results for this evening and where the drivers finished up. But Robert, I mean, you look at this field, look at where the drivers lied. What are some of your final thoughts as we're about to leave here from Las Vegas?
And I don't know what my final thoughts are, actually, Sam. Good racing by everybody, I have to admit. Some people didn't get the finishes that they want, like you said, back there with Nick Crawford. And, Carl didn't have a good running. Gregory Shaw didn't have a good running. But, especially Tom Simchek, sat on the pole and unfortunately, is going to fall way back down here in 20th position. But overall, it's Las Vegas. They did a great job. It was some hard-nosed battling. The details and the information I got all week here about Las Vegas actually came true. That you would see separated packs, certain drivers in certain packs, and the pack would get spread out, and you'd have some 4, 3, 2, drivers racing each other, and then you'd have another pack racing each other. So, yeah, we seen that all play out. The way that it was told to us in our production meeting that we had, throughout the week with everybody. So, but yeah, that's what I take away from here tonight. We'll have to see what Vincent Sora can do. We know what he can do at Richmond. He told us what he can do at Richmond. Does he come back to back to back? Winner here at WSSR Saturday night, and we'll have to wait and see next week. As everybody will be out there trying to take the win away and try to maximize on points, by stage points and getting the win, and hopefully he has 1 or 2 bad races to take that point lead that he's got and everybody behind him just to close it up as we go into week 3. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Me and Sam Dyer do much appreciate it. But that's my takeaway from here tonight, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, it was a spectacular race for all of the drivers here tonight. And what's crazy, yes, it's our 4th season for the WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series. But the wins, if you look at most winningest driver, obviously is Brian Johnson. He's got 13. That of Larry England going to be having that of 9. And then we're going to have a couple of other drivers. But with this second win by Vincent Sora, he is now tied with the 5th all-time wins list here in this series with 2. We'll see how much further he can climb on that wins list of all time here for this series. As he gets the win here at Las Vegas, big thanks to Robert Moyer for running productions and being my co here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer. Thank you for joining us for amazing racing action here for Saturday night with WSSR iRacingiFlag Cup Series racing action. We hope to see you next week at Richmond. If we don't, well, hopefully we'll see you Monday. We got plenty of more racing action throughout the week. We got that the NAISCC Truck Series going to be racing at that of Kansas. The second to last regular season race. It's time to see who's going to make it through crunch time to make it into the playoffs. And if you don't want to see that type of racing in the trucks, it's all right. We got short track racing on Wednesday. It's that of the MRRS Super Late Model Racing Action, round number 2 at Phoenix. And if you feel like, we don't want to see any of that racing, we know we're going to be seeing you next week. It's Richmond, race 3 of our 8 races this season. And we know you want to see more short track racing with the Gen 7 Cup cars. Hopefully we'll see you then. If we don't, just have a great rest of your night here from myself, Sam Dyer, Robert Moyer from Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Have a good one. We'll see you at the next broadcast.